Hi guys, OCA here. In this video, I will introduce never before shared new techniques for frequency domain correction. Basically, we divide the frequency range into slots and apply varying degrees of auto EQ to each slot. This is not possible to achieve with the inversion method, which needs to have the same smoothing and correction limits throughout the full frequency range. Frequency response correction below 200 Hz, frequency response correction between 200 Hz and 500 Hz, and frequency response correction above 500 Hz for high frequencies. Through rigorous testing of all possible variations for many weeks, I have concluded these filter settings to sound the best. The tutorial will continue with a time domain correction filter, namely excess phase inversion. This filter also is highly optimized now with a different smoothing technique and is much easier to produce thanks to the new additions to REW. The final chapter will be about combining all these filters and creating optimized convolution files. Again, new rev features will be used to trim and speed up the filters. We had already created a speaker box and crossover phase correction filter and a VBA filter in the first video, so this one will continue from there. Click at the link at the top right corner now if you haven't yet watched that one. Okay, let's start by opening REW and load our previous video measurements. If you remember, we applied only two filters, the speaker box and phase correction filter and the VBA filter, and the responses after these two filters are applied were L2 and R2. Unsmoothed, no frequency dependent windowing. To determine a target curve that is suitable and best compromise between two channels, we need to take a dB average. Still unsmoothed, go to EQ, equalizer generic, target type none is good enough, doesn't matter. Calculate target level from response. As you see, 78.6, measurement from target shape. We don't need to put the data. So this is our target curve for both speakers. And if you check the info, it is exactly at 78.62 dB. This is the level we are going to use for both speakers when we are equalizing them. Now for L2, go to EQ again. This time apply 148 smoothing, very important. And the level is 78.62. Press enter or tab key and it will correct the level too, although it doesn't show it here. This can be none. Filter tasks 20 to 200. 5, 1. LO narrow filters where IQ doesn't matter for this range, but still, and match response to target. Ignore this message and click OK. And the predicted level is very much on the target curve. Rev applied 9 filters with quite high Q levels, but don't be worried. And it also applied some boost when it can. Within these limits, there will be no ringing and no degradation in sound. Rev does a very good job in keeping the phase shifts below 45 degrees despite the high Q levels used. Now generate measurement from filters. This is for the filters, and generate measurement from predicted to have a response after these filters are applied. Do the same for the right speaker, R2. Everything the same, level 78.62. Match response to target. And this is the response after the filters are applied. Only 6 filters this time, no boost. Generate measurement from filters and generate measurement from predicted. Now we have EQ L2 after the first round of filters are applied, and EQ R2 after the first level of filters are applied to the right speaker. And we have the filters L2 with some boost around 100 Hz and filters R2 with no boost. The second stage of auto EQ, we take EQ L2 this time, go to EQ from 200 to 500. Level will be the same. This time no boost, and match response to target. And this is what it came out with. Generate measurement from filters and generate measurement from predicted. Same for R2, EQ R2, go to EQ. Everything the same, match response to target. Oops. I forgot to do smoothing for R2. Bad mistake. So let's clear filters R2 and EQ R2. Go to R2 again. Go to EQ. 148 smoothing. and 20 to 200, 551 match response to target. Okay, now generate measurement from filters and generate measurement from predicted. This should be here. And here. And now with EQ-R2, we go to EQ again, and this time 200 to 500, 0, 0, match response to target. This is the result. Let's create the filters and the result. Just to show you, now these are the filters between 200 and 500, no boost allowed, and these are the filters for the right speaker between 200 and 500. And these are the results after these EQs. So this is now corrected up to 500 Hertz. Now what can we do about the high frequencies? This is a special technique. My speakers are around 3 meters to LP, which is around 8 milliseconds for the sound to arrive. Actually right now it's around 30 degrees in Frankfurt, so speed of sound should be quite different. But still, depending on your distance of LP to your speakers, tweeter I can say, you should apply to this final response after all the EQ is applied and check its window settings. By the way, I have been increasing the default window sizes to 1000 and 1731 milliseconds. These are the limits. This is just for utmost accuracy. I don't know why they are coming with Taki 001. We might have changed it in the defaults. Let me check. No. Okay, so it's a rare decision, which is fine. Now, left window size only affects the accuracy of the plot. When you give 8 milliseconds here, this is what you will hear before any reflection has arrived to your ear. And this is what you should correct in the high frequencies. This is reflection free because only direct sound can arrive to LP at such an early stage after 8 milliseconds because of the distance my ears are to the LP. In your room, that could be slightly different. And to even avoid high Q levels, also apply to that psychoacoustic smoothing. When you apply a very short right window, you lose the cushion below certain frequency, but you don't need it anyway. Our target level is here. So you can see all we will correct is this in the high frequencies. Let's go and do it. So 78.62 again, and from 500 to 20,000. No boost and match response to target. Remember psychoacoustic smoothing. With just one filter. That's all that's necessary, and generate measurement from filters this time only. You don't need to generate measurement from predicted. Do the same for the left speaker response after the first 2 rounds of filters. Sorry, IR windows, 8 milliseconds. EQ-R2, let's put it on the screen. Go to EQ again. 001, 78.62, match response to target. Okay. And here's the predicted level. Generate measurements from filters only, no need to generate the predicted level. Now these are the final filters for the high frequencies. This is for right speaker and this is for left speaker. To produce the real EQ filter, you have to multiply filters L2 with filters EQ L2, and with the multiplication multiply filters EQ L2. This is the last filter above 500 Hertz. Okay. So now we have this filter, which is a combination of all 3 EQ filters. Do the same for the right speaker. Filters R2 times filters EQ R2, and the multiplication times EQ R2. And this is the final filter for the right speaker. So this one should be called FL EQ, let's say, and this one is filter R EQ. Now back to L2 and R2. Our original responses. Remove all the smoothing before you do any calculation. And now generate L3 and R3, which is the speaker response after they are convolved with this new filter. This one is L3. Similarly for R2. This is R3. And as always, L3 and R3 vector average for comparison. LR3. Now LR3 compared to LR2, and here's the target curve. Fit to data. As you can see, it's as smooth as it should be without any degradation. I can even show you some overlays comparisons for these two. Phase didn't change much because these are minimum phase filters, and the changes are usually positive. Impulse response slightly better, closer to zero axis with the LR3. ETC again, LR3 is better. Step response. As you see, no extra ringing is introduced. It's even ringing less than LR2. But to see the conventional step response, very little degradation in the size of the first peak compared to LR2, and this is unavoidable when you're applying a lot of filters. But overall, the step response is better, closer to zero axis throughout group delay. Let's say it's improved, but check the whole frequency band. Well, we got rid of these peaks here, which is not bad. And RT60 better after 200 Hertz, and clarity better after 80 Hertz. This is as good as you can do with IRR filters. You have to correct the frequency response, and this will not degrade the sound at all. You have to hear it to believe it. Now the last filter. The last filter is a phase inversion filter to increase cohesion between the speakers and improve phase response of the speakers in the audible 100 Hz, 1000 Hz area. This filter is a bit complicated to obtain, but has audible influence on the sound stage. If you're experiencing vocals shifting from the center with certain songs, this is probably the right fix for it. Here is the process. Apply 148 smoothing to L3 and invert its phase from 100 Hertz to 1000 Hertz. Do the same for R3. Open overlays. Phase graph. For the inverted phase responses, apply frequency dependent windowing. and decrease cycles until the range is no larger than 45 degrees. This is 0-degree phase. Either direction. I guess we can get away with 2 cycles since it only goes above 45 degrees at around 200 Hz, which is quite a high frequency, but 1 cycle will be the safest. This is the phase correction we can safely apply without pre-ringing. However, you will see that the frequency response is no longer flat. There are deviations up to 7 dB, which is not acceptable. To remove the frequency SPL fluctuations while keeping the phase response intact, we need to first reverse the magnitude of the inversion. Keep the frequency range larger than the inversion range to keep the blending safe. 20 Hz to 2000 Hz will work fine. Now multiply the inversion with the magnitude reversion. Filter now looks much better. But still rolls off after 10k Hertz. So the final operation is to merge it with a perfect Dirac pulse in the high frequencies. A is Dirac, B is the multiplication. Optimal merge frequency is 1413 Hz. Use no blending. And this is your phase inversion filter. Zero SPL, an ideal phase filter to smoothly fix the phase in the audible range. Let's name these phase filters properly to avoid confusion. Let's call this one FLT for phase and this one FR. Now we need to combine all these filters into one convolution filter. Always start from the filter with the largest right window size. This will keep the resolution of the combination filters at its highest. The largest one will always be the phase inversion filter. Let's check the other filters. FLEQ has 2000 milliseconds, right window size. LVBA has 500 and crossover box filter has 1365. So we multiply FLP with FLEQ, then we multiply the result with XO, and finally we multiply the result with LVBA. Let's name this FL filter left. Now do the same for the right speaker. We have produced the convolution filters, which is a combination of all the filters we produced so far. We can safely export them as wave files and use them in any convolution engine. However, they have very long window lengths. And above 1 million taps. Rev now has a trimming feature to decrease number of taps required in an impulse response, but for that to work most efficiently, we need to first decrease the window sizes as much as we can without affecting the phase and frequency responses of the filters. To do that, we go to Impulse tab with one of the filters, zoom in or out until both left and right window keys are on the far sides of the screen. Now start the right window cursor to the left, observing for changes in the frequency response carefully. Okay, here it starts moving, as you can see. So around 500 is very safe for this. Even lower I can go, but this is fast enough. Now the left window cursor to the right, again watching the frequency graph. So 100 milliseconds seems to be safe. Now update the window sizes in the IR windows to 100 and 500 for the left and right windows. Now you can use the trim feature. As you can see, the tap count now is down to 32K from over 1 million. This is a very fast filter with almost instant response time. Do the same for the right speaker filter. There is no reason for it to require larger window sizes, but you should check each of them before decreasing window sizes to be on the safe side and apply the larger window size to both filters at all times. And finally, we can now export these filters to use in our convolution engines. It's quite easy and straightforward with FL trimmed selected. The filter with the 32,000 samples only and 100 left window and 500 millisecond right window size. File, export impulse response as wave. You can choose mono. For example, for HQ player you have to separately export FL trimmed, FR trimmed as mono. Or for room, or I think also equalizer APO and JRiver, you can create just one single stereo convolution filter. So the right channel should be FR trimmed. I prefer not to tick any of those. This one normalizes and it will introduce a little more clipping, so you have to take care of the gain before you apply this filter. And here actually you can again change the sample count of the filter. You can even choose 1K, like 1024 taps for mini DSP. However, Rev cannot export in binary format. Also, this kind of filter with 1K taps will be nothing but this filter. 32,000 sample is really the best we could do. The best REW could do without changing the impulse response of the filter in terms of phase and frequency. I prefer to export only in 48K Hz because this is the native sampling rate, internal sampling rate of REW. So these filters come out the best. Then I let the upsampling, downsampling to the convolution engine. But feel free to produce at every single sampling rate that you will use, and Rev will also do a quite good job upsampling and downsampling these filters. So export and give it a name like stereo filters and save. That's it. Thanks for watching. You can ask questions if you have any in the comments section. I try to reply as quick as possible. Don't forget to subscribe. You never know, I can always come up with a better correction method. Goodbye.